At this point, I don't really care about winning this competition, or even qualifying. If I do, yay. If I don't, oh well. I'm just gonna say it how it is. Living with loss sucks. It's a ghost, haunting your life and your very being. It cuts and beats at your heart all the time, and sometimes might make you take it out on others. They didn't do anything, but you can't help it. All that emotion that you don't know what to do with just bursts out of you. Do you know how many people die from losing someone they love and care so much about? That number is so high. And that insanely huge number gets bigger and bigger every single year. It breaks my heart that not many people know that. Living with loss can lead to mental illnesses, self-harm, and sometimes even worse. Even though some of us try to hide it with a smile, it doesn't mean it's not there. To put it simply, think of it as a really bad Christmas present. Even though it's wrapped and covered, it's still a really bad Christmas present. But no one knows it's bad until it's uncovered. My father and I got into a few arguments. Once, I might have even said that I hated him. I never appreciated how awesome and amazing he really was until I lost him. Take one slim moment of your time to think of how you would feel if your own dad was here yesterday, but not today, not tomorrow, or the day after that, for 6.5 years. No, not weeks, but not months, but years. I had to grow up without him. I eventually, too, decided to take those emotions out on other people. I found out right before summer break, something I was so excited to spend with my father, and I wanted those typical father-child fishing trips, but I never got to. Instead, I spent it at the beach, for my dad's memorial. I never got to experience a daddy-daughter dance, and I will never get to dance with my father on my wedding day. I thought that everyone had been through the same thing, or something like it, but I was wrong. My first year at the School of Arts and Sciences, I was bullied because I missed him so much and I didn't try to hide it. To close, from one human being to another, think of the one person in your life, whether it's your father, your sister, your aunt, whoever it is that you don't always get along with, and appreciate that they are there, living their lives with you a part of it. Thank you.
When I say the word reptile, you probably think of a green lizard, a green turtle, or a green snake. Wait. Well, actually, there are over 10,000 types of reptiles, and some are really weird. Actually, so weird, it was really hard to pick only 3. The 3 reptiles I chose are the Cole's flying gecko, the Fitzroy river turtle, and the tentacled snake. This first reptile is truly remarkable. It is the Cole's flying gecko. To set things straight, this lizard doesn't fly. First, it actually crawls up a tree, presses its body against the tree, then pushes off the tree, soaring through the air. Its tools are flaps of skin that it uses as a parachute. Another weird thing about my, Cole's flying gecko is that it can walk up windows. You might think this is because of suction cups on its feet. If so, you are wrong. They actually have tiny hairs on their toes that allow them to climb up glass. This next reptile may have a foul idea for survival, but that's why it's in my speech. Its name is the Fitzroy river turtle or the bum-breathing turtle. To start, it only lives in one river in the whole world, making it critically endangered. Now to the fun stuff. This turtle can breathe out of the opening out of its hind end, also known as the butt. This may seem very weird, but this is why I like them. One of these turtles was not reported surfacing for 21 days. The river turtle has small bumps on its neck called tubercles. No one knows why turtles have tubercles. One theory, though, is that they can sense small changes in temperature and vibrations. By far, the weirdest reptile in the whole world is the tentacled snake. It has 2 tentacles that are used to sense when and where fish are present. They're kind of like the tubercles of the river turtle. Also, they need to be able to find their way in murky water. Speaking of, these snakes have a strange way of hanging out in the water. They form a J shape with their body. When a fish comes close, thinking the snake is a stick, the snake creates a muscle movement that triggers the fish's reflexes to swim towards the snake's head. Then, the snake snaps up its meal and swims away. Its disguise works so well that you can pick it up out of the water and it will stay as stiff as a board. As you can see, reptiles can be very weird. That's why I like reptiles. There are so many weird reptiles, it was almost impossible to pick only 3. Courtesy to the Ultimate Reptilopedia, I found that there are many other fascinating reptiles besides the ones that I talked about. I mean, can you forget the basilisk lizard or the leopard gecko? Or the leatherback sea turtle in the boomslang? Hopefully I have inspired you to do your own research and find an amazing reptile that you never knew existed.
Space is many things like the room it takes up or the stars above. Today I'm here to talk about the stars and the planets. I would love to share my knowledge about space. First off, we're going to talk about the sun. The sun is the big ball of fire that heats us up. It's also the source of heat that keeps us warm. It also keeps us intact with the solar system. So all I have to say about the sun is that it's a ball of fire that keeps us all warmed up and intact with our solar system. Next up is Mercury, the planet closest to the sun. This planet is a ball of iron that rotates very slow. The result of its slow rotation is that one side is hot and one side is cold. So third is the third planet in our solar system. It is known as our twin planet Venus. This planet is called our twin because of its size and the speed that it rotates. But this planet can be our opposite as well. The reason for this is that it rotates the opposite way and rain acid and made of mostly lava. The fourth planet is our home Earth. Earth is our big blue living source. This planet is in the Goldilocks zone. This zone is the perfect place in space. Some people may ask, what does that mean? It means that this is the perfect zone for life. Next planet is Mars. This planet seems to be hot, but it's not. This reason is to seem hot because of its red color. It gets its red color because the iron resting on the planet. Now for the biggest planet in our solar system. This planet is called Jupiter. Jupiter is the gas giant. Jupiter has a red spot, which is a storm or a hurricane that's been going for at least 300 years. After that, we have our beautiful planet Saturn. Saturn gets its nickname the beautiful planet because of its ring. The rings are made of dust, ice, and gas. Saturn is rather a peaceful planet. Next, we got the strange planet Uranus. It's strange because it's on its side. Uranus is a very cold planet because of its distance. Next and lastly is Neptune, the ice planet. Neptune is the coldest planet in our solar system. It has a dark spot. That dark spot is a hurricane like Jupiter's.
Raise your hand if you believe in superstition. Unlike many of you, I do not, because that would be bad luck. We've all heard about unlucky number 13, the perils of black cats, and the need to knock on wood. Today, I'm going to be talking to you guys about superstitions, what they are, why people believe them, but most importantly, why you should not. Horoscopes are a form of superstition, and while they can be entertaining, they're bogus. The horoscope states that people born in March, as I was, are artistic and good swimmers. My art teacher and swimming coach are getting a kick out of that one. Superstitions are especially common in sports. If you watched the World Series this year, then you heard of something called the curse of the Billy Goat. The story goes that in 1945, when the Chicago Cubs were in the World Series, a tavern bought 2 tickets, one for him and one for his pet goat. When the ushers would not let the goat into the game, the taverner was furious, and he placed a curse against the World Series ever being played at Wrigley Field again. Needless to say, this year it was played at Wrigley Field, and the Cubs won. Now, let's get to why people are superstitious. Most people are superstitious to give them a feeling of control in a situation where there's really nothing they can control, or just to have someone to blame. If you've ever played basketball, then your coach likely told you if you can imagine the shot going in, then it will. On the other hand, if you watched me and my teammates play this year, you know that one's not true. Think about how superstitions might negatively affect your life and how inconvenient they can be. Having to have your lucky charm with you wherever you go can be a real burden. And if you convinced yourself that you're in for a day of bad luck, then you might not try as hard as you could in areas like school, work, or on some kind of test, and you could lose out because of it. By believing in superstitions, you're just giving yourself one more thing to worry about. The fear of the number 13 can become so real, it can cause unnecessary but serious panic attacks. Bottom line, superstitions are not true. However, fortune cookies are 100% accurate. You should believe everything they say. Like my fortune last night said, you'll have a great triumph soon. Oh, and by the way, to all my fellow contestants, good luck.
Being the youngest child in the family has some pretty great advantages. However, there are times when you get the short end of the stick. Literally. No matter how old I get, I'll always be the baby of the family. So today, I'll take you on a journey of the pros and cons of a young man in my position. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Leonard Andre Arrington Jr., and I am the youngest child. So what are some of the pros or advantages of being the youngest? Well, for starters, I'll always have more than everyone else. More clothes, more shoes, and more coats. Okay now. For the disadvantages or cons, or the disadvantages or cons, well, a lot of my surplus just happens to be, yep, you guessed it, hand-me-downs. I guess you could say I'm the king of vintage. Yes, sir. Being the youngest child is all about renew, reuse, recycle. Man, that sucks. Okay, next point. I get blamed for everything. If something gets broken, the baby did it. If there's a mess that has been made, oh yeah, that was me too. If someone ate the leftovers, that was all me. However, the good thing about these fictitious accusations, they are made up by some of the most brilliant minds I know, my older siblings. If they have never, ever did nothing else for me, they have equipped me with an overwhelming arsenal of crafty wordplay explanations. I've mastered it so that I can get out of virtually anything. So although being the youngest has placed me at the tail end, I'm wiser and smarter, and it is all because I've learned from the best.
One minute you're walking along with your family at the mall, you daydream for just a few seconds about Beanie Babies, Barbie dolls, and those big yummy pretzels at the food court. When you look up to realize that you're not with your family anymore, you've wandered down a lost, forgotten corridor towards the Sears department store, where no one in their right mind would ever dare to venture. Yikes! This happened to me just a few years ago. Even though there are lots of people around, and malls are a very familiar place, it's still pretty scary to find yourself alone and lost between the Gap and Athlete's Foot. I must have had that dazed and confused stare of a little lost sheep as I wandered between the kiosks selling bedazzled iPhone covers and lotions from the Dead Sea, which, by the way, leave your skin surprisingly soft, supple, and refreshed. Anyways, a woman with a stroller came up to me and asked if I was lost. I must have muttered, yes, or something, but she was absolutely no help. She just said, oh, that's so sad. Well, I hope you find your mom. And then she went back to her shopping. I had to take matters into my own hands, or else I would have had to live out my days surviving only on those little chicken samples from the food court. I noticed a mall cop twirling his fearful flashlight walking nearby. I told him I was lost, and he immediately initiated a code. Delta Lima Kilo. Dumb lost kid. That meant they had to shut all the entrances and exits to the mall until they located my parents. Little did I know that same moment, my mom was frantically searching for me in the nearby Barnes & Noble. She told the workers there that she had lost her little girl, somewhere between Jane Austen and Stephen King. I guess with the code Delta Lima Kilo and the mom freaking out in Barnes & Noble, the security guard used his detective skills to put together that these two cases must be related. Very soon, I was joyfully reunited with my mom, brothers, and sisters. Everyone was thrilled, especially the people waiting for the doors to open up and let them out. I have to admit, I was pretty spooked getting lost in the mall like that, and I'm not ashamed to say that I was choking back the tears as we walked to the parking lot. The moment I got into the van, I burst out crying. I was so scared and so happy to be back with my family. And I was kind of sad. I never got one of those big yummy pretzels from the food court. I care a lot about the environment, and that is why I'm here to talk to you about hydraulic fracturing, or fracking for short. Fracking is a method of drilling used to extract natural gas or petroleum, which is a type of oil from deep beneath the Earth's surface. In this process, a tube is drilled about 1,000 feet down into the ground, and once it stops, it sticks chemicals into the rocks, cracking them and extracting the resources inside. Fracking is very harmful to the environment and to people. Fracking contaminates water, causes earthquakes, and releases a harmful gas called methane into the environment. I've never been in an earthquake before, but I've been in a hurricane, and I know how damaging some disasters can be. Before fracking, Oklahoma had 0 earthquakes. After the state allowed fracking, there's been a dramatic increase in the number of earthquakes. Like in the year of 2015, 6,668 earthquakes hit. Could you imagine having that in Florida? Furthermore, another serious problem is water contamination. Water is necessary for all living organisms to survive, and when I get tired or thirsty, I have the luxury to get a nice, clean glass of water. Some people in the United States have contaminated water because of fracking. For example, a study shows that the entire groundwater resource in the Wind River Basin in Wyoming is contaminated with harmful chemicals linked to hydraulic fracturing. Proponents of fracking argue that it is good and it reduces climate change because it burns natural gas instead of coal and produces less carbon emissions. However, fracking results in the release of methane, a very dangerous greenhouse gas that traps up to 100 times more heat in the atmosphere, and that negates any advantage gained by the burning of natural gas instead of coal. In conclusion, I hope this has made you more aware of the dangers and consequences of fracking, that it completely destroys the environment and is harmful to all living creatures. About 66 years ago, Ansel Adams said this quote, "Once destroyed, nature's beauty cannot be purchased at any price." We need to all listen to his wise words now, more than ever.
In 1936, the first superhero was born. The Phantom, a masked crime fighter wearing purple spandex, was featured in a comic strip. 2 years later, Superman took flight in Action Comics #1. And since then, becoming a superhero has been the dream of both old and young alike. From powers to training to costume, today I'm going to show you how to become a superhero. Every superhero needs an ability that makes them worthy of the title super. And there's tons of options when it comes to powers. You could be super smart, like Iron Man, who hacked into the Pentagon in high school for a dare. Or you could fall into a bad acid or get exposed to gamma radiation, like the Hulk and Daredevil. Although I wouldn't recommend either of those options because they both sound extremely painful. Or you could be lucky enough to be born with your powers, like the most famous hero of all, Superman. On to training, being able to control your powers. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. First you need to find a quiet, open space with no people to harm or take embarrassing YouTube videos of you. When flying, it might seem like not crashing into bushes, buildings, or bad guys might be most important. But in my opinion, learning to land is most important. Imagine flying towards the earth at 100 miles per hour and not being able to hit the brakes. Yikes. Also, a training buddy might be a good option. Although your choices may be limited, you probably need to choose another superhero. If you choose a regular old Joe, they might get scared, get hurt, or worse, get dead. Finally, the costume. This needs to be perfect. I'm sorry, but most superheroes get this wrong. You do not wear your underwear on the outside, people. Also, as we have learned from The Incredibles, no capes. Although this can be very tempting, because whenever the wind hits your cape just right, it will look amazing. But it's just simply too easy to get sucked up into giant plane engines. Onto the mask. A simple, small mask can work. But let's get real, people. If you really want to hide your secret identity, a kabuki mask is the way to go. Freaky, but concealing. It just depends on how much you want to show off. So there you have it, the top 3 things you need to become a superhero. From superpowers to super training to a super costume. If you manage to complete all 3, call Stan Lee, and he just might put you in a comic book.
Who here has a favorite sport? Well, I do. Soccer, football, tennis, basketball, and hockey are all good sports to play. If I were to choose my favorite, most excellent sport, I would choose bike riding. Although bike riding is not very common in our modern society, it still has many benefits such as helping your whole body, being eco-friendly, and most of all, costing less. If the best reason why bike riding is an excellent sport is because it helps your whole body. When riding a bike, all of your muscles such as the biceps, triceps, quadriceps, hamstrings, and your calves are all being used. For example, whenever I go out to ride my own bike, I can feel all my muscles are working hard to keep me balanced so I don't fall. Over the course of a few weeks, I can already feel my muscles are getting stronger each day. This is only one reason why bike riding is an excellent sport. Bike riding is also beneficial in being eco-friendly. A bike can be the opposite of a car because the car releases toxic fumes into the air, whereas the bike cannot. Cars and trucks always pass by as I ride my bike and release their dark, smelly, yucky, dark pollutant gases into the air, which I can see up going in the air and creating a huge dark cloud. This huge dark cloud can have a major effect on global warming. Even though global warming is a major problem in the earth, bike riding is one excellent alternative. My third and final reason why bike riding is an excellent sport is because it costs less. Thinking about how much money it costs to buy a car is way too expensive. A car can cost about $20,000 or even more, whereas a bike can cost up to $500 or even less. Also, there are multiple times of the year where gas prices can go up and increase the reality. For instance, my mom has a major errand to go to the gas station and fill up our car with multiple gallons of gas, which can cost way too much. I prefer much going to the garage and getting my bike without having to fix the engine, check the gear, and spend money on gas. This is a final reason why bike riding is an excellent sport. To sum up my thoughts, I have seen many sports, but none of them were the sport and activity of bike riding. The benefits of helping your whole body, being eco-friendly, and most of all, costing less, is all helpful in deciding that bike riding is an excellent sport. Thank
Do you remember those school dances you went to? You know, dances that was just for the food, the divine fruit punch, the appetizing and crunchy Lay's chips, even the cheesy stuffed crust of the pizza. Oops! Now I know where I'm going after this. Well, besides the food, I love the dancing. I go to Studio 88, a dance studio in Carterville, Wakulla County, Florida. Honestly, best decision my parents ever made for me. But can you believe that some people don't think dance is a true sport? According to the dictionary, The definition of a sport is a physical activity that is governed by a set of rules and customs and is often engaged in competitively. My dance studio had 2 competitions last year, winning high gold for both. In sports like football and soccer, you see that the players must go through pain and sweat to build up their stamina and endurance. Well, in dance, we must go through the same things, maybe a bit more. We must train to build up our stamina, endurance, flexibility, and love for what we are doing. Whether or not we get better depends on how much we love doing the sport. It's the same as for every other sport. So, according to the dictionary, dance should be considered a sport. Some people think dance is more of an art than a sport. Why can't dance be both? I mean, dance isn't all physical, you must be mentally trained as well. Have you ever seen a nutcracker? Do you think the dancers in the nutcracker don't use their brains? A dancer must not only be strong, but also know their parts. A dancer must know whether to frown, pout, smile, laugh, or even be confused. It all depends on choreography. You understand that in sports like football, basketball, soccer, etc., that the players must work hard before they practice to build up everything. But when people say that dancers must go through the same things, they're not kidding. I have belly on Fridays, and let me tell you, if I wasn't already in love with the sport, I would have quit a long time ago. On Fridays, we do planks for 30 seconds and side planks for 30 seconds on each side. We do 16 push-ups, and if one person drops, we must all start over. They even make us run laps around the studio for 3 whole songs, and our teachers choose long songs that they can find. There's more, but if I told you everything, we'd be here for hours. Teachers do not put us all this pain because they're evil. They put us through it to train us for later. They put us through it because they love us. But if we ever question whether they are looking to kill us, they say, tough love. In conclusion, dance should be considered a sport. We have the proof all over some ballet days. As a dancer, you must know your part, the choreography, and the people you are working with. But most importantly, know what your heart wants and never deny it.
I'm sick of little sisters. Let me talk to you about one thing and one thing only. Little sisters. Yes, little sisters. They look so cute and they look so sweet and all, but so does Homer until you're sitting there for hours doing it. Little sisters are miniature devils trapped in baby bodies and are here to destroy planet Earth. Or at least my bedroom. I know little sisters are miniature devils for a fact because I have one myself. She pulls my hair, takes my tablet, wears my clothes, and steals my candy, then argues with me about it. Did I mention they are not rare? They are found every day, all over the world. Matter of fact, there's one being born right now, and no one's doing anything about it. One day, they will take over the world, or at least my closet, and they will make all older sisters go to Mars. Yeah, I hear your conversations. Although little sisters are mean, bossy, frustrating, whiny babies, they have what you call good moments too. Like that time when my little sister was teething and bit me right on the hand. Yeah, that hurt, but at least she said sorry. And another time when she grabbed my favorite chips and shoved all of them in her mouth. Little did she know, I licked them. So to all the little sisters out there, please don't send us to Mars. We're crazy! And to all the older sisters out there, good luck. Achoo! There must be little sisters here today. P.S. I'm no little sister. I'm the middle sister.
Have you ever been to Europe? Well, 2 summers ago, my family and I were able to visit 3 countries, the Netherlands, Germany, and Austria. We started our trip in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is very different from the United States. There were more bikes on the street than cars, and many of the cars only had 3 wheels. We stayed in Amsterdam. When we arrived at our hotel, I was surprised. I thought we were going to have a casual, big lobby with lots of chairs and room. Instead, it was very small. It had extremely steep stairs and an elevator that could only hold 2 or 3 people. There was no time to lose. We set down our bags and belongings and we were off. We visited many attractions while we were there, including a canal boat ride, very old buildings, and 2 famous paintings, The Night Watch and Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait. The next day, we rented some bikes and biked 24 miles to go to a town called Zonzachans. After that, we boarded a night train where you sleep on the train. It seemed like a good idea at the time until the train and the air conditioning broke. To pass time, we made paper friends and passed them out to other passengers on our train. Finally, we arrived in Munich, Germany. There was construction everywhere and it was gloomy and muggy. But we stayed in the Art Hotel, which was very nice, and I got my own FC Bayern Munich soccer shirt at a shop nearby. We got on board another train. I think I'm losing my train of thought on this. Ha ha. This time we headed to a salt mine. The mine was very cool and refreshing. We rode down several sites to go down farther in the cave. The salt on the cave walls was edible, so we got to try some. Delicious. I had seen enough of Germany, so we all headed to Austria next. Wow, when I saw the first sights of Salzburg, Austria, I wish I had gone there instead of Germany. There was luscious green grass, crystal blue lakes, and trees. Our favorite was the Sound and Music bus tour. We rode through the hills and saw where it was filmed. We took a walk through Mirabel Gardens, where the Von Trapp children ran around the fountain singing. Finally, we headed back to good old Florida by airplane. We had a great time, but I was glad to get back home.
Everyone has someone they look up to and want to be like one day. And everyone has different opinions. And who is my hero? My hero is my mom, the Angel Williams. My mom is my favorite person in this universe because she is always there when I need her the most, and I don't know what I would be today without her. She has blessed me with a great life, and I am forever thankful for all she did for me. Nobody can ever compare themselves to how much she has impacted my life. She is the most caring, loving, and genuine person I know, and that is why she is my hero. A hero to me is a person that is there for you no matter what. They will always be by your side, and I know she will always be there for me, whether I am upset and crying or I am celebrating a new accomplishment in my life. She has always put me first and done everything she could to be the best mother and do everything she could. Putting up with me is not that easy. I am moody, stubborn, and at times I think I am the boss of everybody. Me and my mom don't have the best relationship. We get in arguments and disagree on a lot of things. But no matter how big of a fight we get in, we always make it up by the end of the day because we both know that we cannot live without each other. My hero is someone I think is brave, strong, hardworking, and unselfish. Someone who can protect you and make life better. My mom have all of those qualities. My mother was raised by 2 great parents and had a very good life growing up. She was Miss FCCLA, Family, Career, and Community Leader of America. She graduated from James A. Shanks High School, and after high school, she went to Georgia Medical Institute to study medical assistance. My mother is not my hero, not only because what she offers me and gives back to me, but to other people too. She is a great wife, mother, and friend. All the qualities she has as a person, I wish one day and I can have the same and be just like her. My mother makes me feel like the most important person in this universe because I know she would do anything for me in a heartbeat if I was in need or hurt. She has been by my side for 12 years and I am forever thankful for all she do for me. Nothing will or nobody will ever compare themselves to how much she has impacted my life.
Two years ago, I moved to Tallahassee from the only home I had ever known, 2624 Gila Road, Dunwoody, Georgia. It was tough. New schools, new teammates in sports, and knowing no one. But one of the biggest challenges I faced was locating that taste of home, that comfort food that's good for the soul. It started when I was a toddler. very first time, I bit into the most delicate, soft and gooey, warm sensation of a Wright's Deli grilled cheese sandwich. As I navigated all the easy stuff with the move, getting used to a new school, playing ball on new teams, making new friends, my longing for that perfect taste of home was, well, eating away at me. I had to pursue extreme measures. Make my own sandwich. I recalled a type of cheese discussion with the deli's owner, Matt. Yellow American cheese. But the question was, which brand? Boar's Head? Sargento? Publix brand? I tried every cheese, even the special imported one, but I had no luck. After pleading, my mom finally let me purchase the processed cheese. It worked. Comfort? At last? Well, partially. Just before the move, I had graduated from the grilled cheese to the world famous double-decker mountain of ham, turkey, and best of all, bacon. My quest for the taste of home would not be complete without the club. This was a lot harder than it seemed, as I had to find the right combination of all the ingredients, rather than just one. My first combination, mayo, mustard, ham, store brand bacon, romaine lettuce, cheddar cheese, was a failure. Wrong brands, wrong ingredients. I tried again. This time it came much closer, but the mustard was too strong. The ham didn't taste right. I gave one final attempt. I used mayo diluted mustard, smoked ham, honey smoked turkey, applewood bacon, white American cheese, aged Swiss cheese, iceberg lettuce, tomato, on toasted honey wheat bread. It was perfect. My move to Tallahassee is now complete. I'm settled into school with new friends, and I'm no longer the new kid playing ball. But if I ever get hungry for the good old days, I'll just make a homemade sandwich. One taste, and it's comfort food that's good for your soul. Imagine a little girl in first grade with a baby doll clutched in her arms. Her eyes are wide in terror at the audience in front of her. Yet, in spite of her terror, she feels ecstatic. That little girl was me, and this is the story of my theater experience and how I've grown through it. I will proceed to tell you what I learned through my small beginnings, my disappointment, and my lead role challenges. I was certain I would be the next prima donna, soon to steal the stage. Yet, I started with a humble beginning. My older sisters were in a production of Les Miserables. I was dying to be in the play. I even pretended I was part of the cast. As I practiced multiple times each week, I participated any way I could. Alas, I was only 7, so underestimated and misunderstood, I sorrowfully watched from the audience. However, this experience taught me that theater life was for me, because I loved the idea of being someone else for a change. After my decision to pursue the dramatic arts, I auditioned to be an Anne of Green Gables. I did so in high hopes of getting Anne. After all, I have a qualifying attribute with my red hair. But sadly, I didn't know how hard it would be to get a lead role. I waited almost a week. When we finally got word, I was devastated. I didn't get Anne. Instead, I got a young schoolgirl and played my role with as much enthusiasm as I could muster. And had the best time doing it. Through this trial, I learned to enjoy myself. So in spite of my loss, I really won. Finally, after a handful of disappointments, which felt like a barrel full, my day came. I was cast as the star. Blonde. Jade Blonde. But little did I realize this would require a significant amount of work. I had pages of lines, a solo, and stage directions to memorize. Memorizing became an imperative part of my schooling. Eventually, showtime arrived, and thankfully I remembered my lines and solo. I gathered from this experience that hard work pays off. I have grown in many ways through my theater experience, beginning with a minuscule start enduring disappointment and overcoming it, and finally learning the rewards of persevering have all helped me to grow. My goal was to perform in theater, and I did. Surprisingly, I also learned how to perform in life.
Can I get everyone's attention, please? Can I get your attention, please? I'm here today to talk to you about one of my passions. Accents. That's right, accents. What you just heard was a country or southern accent. My mom and I love to travel. And during our travels, we've learned how people talk and how it's so different than the way we speak. My mom and I have this fun game we like to play on our travels where we try and speak in the accent of the people we meet. Texas sounds like this. Howdy, partner. Welcome to Texas. The Lone Star State is the largest state, and it's full of wild horses, cowboys, and oil. Cali sounds a little funny, kind of like this. Like, totally, dude, gonna take my board and hang ten. Then, like, go hang with the Valley Girls and eat, like, a kale salad and half an avocado and, like, a side salad, dude. New York has 5 boroughs, and they all have different accents. This is an accent from the Bronx. Hey, Ma, you wants to go down to Tony's and get a slice of pie with extra cheese, a pump, and a coffee? Wisconsin's known for cheese, don't you know? We go down by the lake, yeah. We use stop and go lines, coupons. We take a route, don't you know? In Louisiana, they have 3 different accents. This is one from the south. Where you at? Down in Nolens, way down by the bayou. They got a little crawfish pie, gumbo, a little singing, dancing for the folk like a little good time. And my favorite, Jamaica, Mon, where they speak patois. Hey, Mon, what pre? What we gonna do? I bust a jerk chicken at the Island Grill, down by the beach. I remember. Now that you've heard a little bit about one of my passions, do accents now interest you? Next time you travel to a faraway place, try speaking in the accents of the people you meet. Do it with your family. It's fun, and believe it or not, you're also learning.
Have you ever wondered what your pet's thinking? How your cat's stalking you and replaying your failures in his mind? Or how your dog loves when you scratch behind his fluffy ears? The mind of pets is complicated to humans. How could we possibly know what they're thinking? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. Take this for example. I have the cutest dog at home, and I decided to stick him in the armhole of a sweater. I thought it was absolutely adorable, but in his mind, he was probably thinking on how to get revenge on me later. Animals are God's creatures. We may think of them as dumb little things running around the world, but they understand a lot more than we think. Secretly, they're smarter than us. Think about this. We have a home, food, and money, and wouldn't be able to survive long without them. But some cats and dogs have to use their wits to survive without the comforts of a home. They have to make it on the streets alone. Pets are clever. We just don't always know it. How about when a guinea pig or another animal pees on you? Do you really think that's always an accident? Pets can understand our words, but we can't understand theirs. Pets are often able to read our feelings. Pets can be trained to do many things, from tricks to saving lives. Hamsters can run on wheels, cats can be trained to use the toilet and flush it when they're done, and dogs can be trained to tell if a person's going to have a seizure or go into diabetic shock. Some can smell and alert people of the presence of drugs or bombs, while others can sniff out cancers, tumors, and people. How cool is that? Have you ever wondered what your pet thinks when you leave for work? Maybe they think it's time to party, or just wishing you would come home already. That's something we have in common with them. We don't want to leave, and they don't want us to leave either. Don't ever forget about your pets. They have minds too, and you never know what they might be thinking.
You stop at a traffic light, and you look around, and you see heads buried, fingers rapidly moving, furiously typing like a pianist on a mini piano. But all it is their handy-dandy phone. Technology. It can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. Technology makes your life easier in a lot of ways. Siri, best pizza places in New York. Alexa, play Uptown Funk in all rooms. Okay, Google, driving directions to Super Bowl 51. You can talk and stay in touch with family and friends all around the world, anytime, any place. And there's an app for everything, even learning how to whistle. Reminded me to download that one. When Tallahassee lost power due to Hurricane Hermine, Publix was filled with people, majority of who were not buying essentials, but wanting to charge their cell phones. Technology is a necessity, but are we overusing it? Obsession, loss of focus, inactivity, and its side effects are caused by being glued to a screen. Pay attention to these facts. More than 3,000 teens die each year because they're texting while they drive. And drivers are 23 times more likely to be in an accident because they're texting behind the wheel. Texting and Snapchatting, going live on Facebook, chasing Pokemon, and posing for selfies, all behind the wheel, are equally bad. Take the example of inappropriate texts. It's like a football play, where you're the quarterback and the person you're sending the text to is the wide receiver. He might get it, but then fumble it. And anybody can get it. Think of the lives this may ruin. We have dived so far down into the sea of technology that we cannot see the surface, the big picture, and ultimately reality. We rely so heavily on technology that meaningful conversations are going to become a thing of the past. So where am I going with this? Should I wrap everything up and go back to the Stone Age? Certainly not. But can we hold on to the good and let go of the bad? Yes, we can. Let's use technology more responsibly. Let's not be glued to that screen. Let's step outside, enrich our lives, and step back into reality.
Oh my gosh, what is happening? My mom is 20 minutes late. Whoa. Relax, okay? It's only been 30 seconds. You're facing anxiety. It truly affects more people than you think. In fact, according to WebMD.com, it is the most common mental condition that affects people today. But fear not, there are ways to get around your anxiety. Counseling is one, or even breathing exercises. Either way, it may help to know that it is not just completely normal, but very common too. Yes, it's true. I faced horrible anxiety, years and years, since preschool. At first, I could not find a reason for this anxiety. It was just there. But then, when I got into second grade, I started to think that my parents would get into a car crash. This was really just my brain targeting something so that my anxiety would make sense. Also, my mom goes to an exercise class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That was really hard on me because it was late at night, and, well, everything seems worse when it's late at night. I used to worry about her to the point of hysterics. There are ways to help, though. Like counseling. We've all heard of counseling, and I bet each and every one of you would rather lick your brother's foot than attend. Don't worry, I have, from experience, found that it is actually not that bad, and sometimes even very fun. Also, breathing exercises help some people, though I found that they don't really help me very much. But sometimes, even all of that doesn't help. Okay, say you've been to counseling, practice breathing exercises, and anything else you can think of, but your anxiety still won't go away. Do not fret. If nothing else, you can be assured that you will grow out of your anxiety. It takes longer, but rest assured, it will go away. Also, feel good about the fact that you're not alone. 18% of people face anxiety. According to kidshealth.org, anxiety acts as an alarm system when you're in danger. When anxiety strikes, your heart produces adrenaline so that you can run away from things. It's a natural biological phenomenon. So if a parent is 20 minutes late, don't worry, it's probably just bad traffic. Remember what I told you and don't ever freak out. It makes it worse. It's all okay. Don't worry, be happy.